Hello and welcome to the eTalk 21 Sports Podcast. This is Eric coming at you on Thursday, September 26th. We're at halftime here. The second half is just starting of this Eagles-Packers game. A little bit more offense compared to last week. We won our Eagles first half bet of +3. We did, however, lose the first half under. We're sitting on the Eagles +5 for the game. Totally beat the number in that aspect. We were able to get Tuesday. And we took a bite of the second half under of 24. So, as usual, I'll give you a couple thoughts of the game, some fantasy players I like. All my rankings can be found on eTalk21sports.com. Again, that's free content I give out. I cashed the first 2 weeks, did not cash week 3. I apologize for that. And I have won $35,000 so far playing DraftKings. So, doing pretty good. Pretty good knowledge of what's going on. Pay attention to the games. I watch every game. And, the sports betting stuff, that's the premium content you got to pay for. Up 40.08 units on the year and hitting at 57%. Everything is half a unit to 4 units in play. And no one's hitting those numbers. So, obviously, if you like money, you want to be part of the team. I got a daily, I got a weekend, I got a weekly, I got a monthly special. The guys that cashed in on a seasonal already are loving it. So, looking to continue that. I have a system I do. I really feel that when it comes to games, I'm just looking at stuff that other people aren't. So, let's dive into my thoughts for the week. Number 1, Antonio Brown. I always say I won't talk about AB, but now his agent is saying he'll play. Now, this is how I look about it, and this is how AB has to look at it. I truthfully feel if he wants to play again in the league. People move on. People forget. It's kind of like a relationship. If you break up with a girl, you move on, you forget. That's what happens. You move on, you forget. What happened to Des Bryant? Des Bryant got released from the Cowboys. He said he had 31 teams that could sign him. Mid-season, he got signed by the Saints and hurt himself. He hasn't been back on the field again. What with Chad Okocinco? All these guys have this thing that, life, football won't go on without him. It will. And AB is at that part right now where if he doesn't realize that this game is going to go on without him, he'll never get back in. What he needs to do is he needs to take a veteran minimum, not threaten anybody, not do any shady shit, not throw furniture out of a window, and just play football. And then he'll get back in the game. That's what he needs to do. He needs to shut up and just play football. No drama for a year. And he'll be fine. And he'll be welcome back. But until he does that and understands that, he's not going to be back in the game. And he's going to have to eat crow, which for cocky people is very hard to do. And I really think it's going to be hard for him to do. So that's why I personally think that we'll probably never see AB on the field again, which was too bad. I mean, he played at Central Michigan. That's where I grew up. I grew up in Mount Pleasant. My dad met him a couple times. My dad actually had a beer with him a couple times. My dad has nothing but good things to say about him. And I really wanted him to succeed, and he had a great career. But how he's fallen off the rails is just one of the worst falls you'll ever see in sports, and it's very sad to see. Next thing I'm going to touch on is this whole Jalen Ramsey thing. I mean, come on. Oh, hey, I have the flu. Oh, hey, I have a sore back. Oh, hey, my wife's pregnant. This is just what we used to do when we were kids and didn't want to take a test. We didn't want to go. We didn't want to be there. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that is what he's doing. He does not want to be in Jacksonville, and he wants to be traded. That's it. I'll come back when I'm ready. What? Now, I could be way off here. His wife could have some complications. His kid could be born prematurely. And if that is, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. I'll admit I'm wrong. But everything that leads to this is telling me that this is just him forcing his hand that he wants to be traded and he wants to get out of town. That's it. That's how I perceive it. And I really feel that's what's going on. Sometimes it's best not to outthink the room. The next thing I want to talk about, looks like Cam's going to be out for a while, which is unfortunate. I personally like Cam. And there's never been a person in the NFL more hated for no reason than Cam Newton. There are people that think Ray Lewis is great. Oh, he's a great guy. He fights. He battles. Oh, my God, he's great. Ray Lewis murdered somebody. Ray Lewis flipping murdered somebody. And there's people that have beat women and done some shady shit What does Cam do? He dresses a little differently. Gardner Minshew's out there with his ball sack hanging out, and people think he's great. Wears a weird hat. Look at the hats Tom Brady's worn. Or this Aaron Rodgers thing where he had a jean jacket and a cowboy hat and a mustache. But hey, let's hate on Cam. And I get it, he was rude to that reporter in the Super Bowl. But he just lost the biggest game of his life. Well, you know what? I get why he acted like that, and I think it was totally wrong. But if that's your worst thing against him, why don't you take a look in the mirror? He's out there laying it on the line. And Kyle Allen lit up the freaking Cards defense. The Arizona Cardinals defense. You're telling me that's an elite defense? You're telling me that's an elite defense. The defense that can't stop a tight end to save its life, that's the elite defense you're referencing. That you think Kyle Allen's all that. I think the Texans are going to eat on them, and if Rivera and Turner are smart, McCaffrey should eat. Just give McCaffrey the ball. You don't want to have Allen slinging it around at the Texans. That defense with Romeo Corral is a whole lot better than that shit show going on in Arizona, and that's for sure. So this whole thing that Allen's surplusing Cam, former MVP, who's out there giving it on the line, that's a fallacy. That ain't gonna happen. That's Cam's team, and Allen is a second string quarterback at most. All right, so real quick, let me give you guys some fantasy ideas. Number one, obviously at quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. You can just set out and forget at this point. This guy, someone made an analogy, and I completely get it. What Steph Curry did for the NBA, that's what Patrick Mahomes is doing for the NFL right now. I totally forget who made that analogy, but I saw it on Twitter. But that's true. So, obviously, that's a guy, but it's at the point now where a lot of people are going to have him in their DraftKings lineup, and he's going to be so overpriced. What's the point of having him? Russell Wilson against that Cardinals defense is awful. And I tell it to anyone that listens, what position can't they defend? What happened week 1? The Rook, Hawk, lit him up. What happened week 2? Mark Andrews, lit him up. Week 3, Greg Olsen, what did he do? Lit him up. So this is going to be the 4th week in a row. Big Willie, Will Dissly, he's locked and loaded in my DK lineups. I'll do a Disley and Wilson stack. That's what I'll do in my line. That's going to be a lineup I build off of, because this Cardinals D can't stop the tight end, and we're at the point now when I look at stuff for my stats for fantasy football, they're 4 weeks, and this is the 4th week. So if there's another 2 touchdown performance by a tight end, oh my God, then we got a trend. And it's looking like we're going to have a trend. Running back list, hey, it's pretty simple. At this point, everyone's going to have McCaffrey or Elliott 1 and 2, which I get. And rightfully so. The one thing that's a little worrisome about Elliott is Elliott's not getting the pass targets that he has before. So that's my one worrisome about Elliott is he's not getting the pass targets. I expect a total bounce back game from James Conner. I expect them to feed him the rock. At this point, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry and Mark Ingram, in my auction league I did, they're going to lead me to a title. Ingram's just getting the rock pounded right now, and so is Henry. And if those games stay close, which I'm sure they will, then I expect both those guys just to eat. Just to be the fat kid at the buffet table and just eating up carries. An under-the-radar guy I like at the running back position, I like Kerryon this week. It's no secret that Bevel and Patricia want to run the ball, and they want to keep the Chiefs' defense off the field. With that being said, I think it's time to let Kerryon eat. They've been doing a great job with their pass blocking. The Lions have the past couple weeks. And their run blocking has gone better. And I think this is the week where they really establish the run and get Kerryon going. And also Justin Jackson. He's going to eat this game, kind of like Pollard did last time. The Chargers are going to be up big. Also with the Chargers, Melvin Gordon's back. And I'm sorry, if you drafted Eckler and don't have Gordon, or you didn't trade Eckler when his ROI was high, then I really don't feel bad. I really don't feel for you. Gordon made no secret that he was coming back. He made no secret about it, that he was coming back. So when Eckler's value is at its highest, that's when you had to make the move. And if you didn't make the move, I'm sorry. That's on you. If you have a chance to get Austin Eckler, right now in a redraft league, what would he go for with Gordon coming back? 7th, 8th, 9th round? At most? And get a 2nd or 3rd round value back for him right now? That's on you. That's your fault. That's not planning ahead. In this game, you have to play week by week, but you also have to plan ahead in season long. And if you're not planning ahead and trying to be 1 or 2 moves ahead of everybody, that's on you. That is your fault. And I'm sorry. That's your bad. So I don't want to hear any whining about that I'm hearing on the Instagram and Twitter universe. Speaking of Instagram, this dude, it's a total bum contest. And he's just doing it to kind of get more followers, more people, which is fine. We all do this stuff. But he's saying he's going to give $100, do this. And I just set up this thing. I was like, no, thank you. I was like, thanks for the offer, no, thank you. And next thing you know, I'm getting called every name in the book. And I respond to him. I'm like, hey, look, man, I'm sorry. I just don't want to do it. And he blocks me. That's the one thing. People get so effing sensitive on social media. And the other thing about social media is, people always have to defend themselves why they did something. Which, hey, I'm fine. Whatever. But if I'm wrong, hey, I admit I'm wrong. I thought Daniel Jones was going to shit the bed. He balled out. He looked good. He balled out. And, I admitted it. But you got these people in here, even when they're wrong, you call them out on it. They get so defensive and so blah, 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 and try to defend their point. Hey, you know what? No one's going to be right all the time. No one's going to be right all the time. Admit you're wrong and move on. If you're right, hey, you want to gloat? Hey, I do it too. But at least on the ball sack to admit, hey, you know what? I'm wrong. Speaking of Daniel Jones, I have him insanely low. Insanely low. I have him in my rankings at number 22. And I'll tell you why. Interdivision game, and this against the Redskins that know Shurmur's play calling. And now people have video, and the more video you have on people, the more it's easier to know their tendencies and their trends. And because of that, and also this is where Joge's value is going to be at the highest, I'm going to fade him. He's not going to be in none of my lineups, and I have him insanely low on my rankings for this week. So I'm not expecting much of him at all. An under the radar quarterback guy that I like, that I think will do good. Can we call Jacoby Brissett underrated? Can we? I mean, this guy has balled out no matter what situation he's been in. And I really like to make the playoffs and actually win a game or two. The defense, that line, they're pretty good. And I'll back that. Or in season long, Case Keenum's not a bad pickup. Because the Redskins are going to be behind so much, he's going to be forced to sling the ball. I already said for this week, some under-the-radar guys for running backs. In terms of wide receivers, God, was I wrong on James Washington last week. I thought Washington was going to eat, boys and girls, and I am so sorry. Obviously, I had Adams ranked as number 1, and hell, after that first half, he just balled out. I mean, Eagles back 4, and I've been saying it forever, is god effing awful. Their back 4 is the worst. The worst. A wide out under the Mike Williams. I'll go Mike Williams. Dolphins can't do anything.